Good morning, everyone. My name is Chris Weiser, and welcome to the private invitation-only webinar, How Cloud Computing Can Potentially Reduce Your IT Costs, Provide Automatic Disaster Recovery, and free you to work from anywhere on any device. Again, my name is Chris Weiser. I'm the CEO of Tech Squad IT here in Waukesha, Wisconsin. Over the next 60 minutes, I'll share some very powerful insights with you that will definitely help you understand what cloud computing is and how this technology can potentially help your business become more profitable. Many of you already know me and also Tech Squad IT because we manage all of the things for your technology already. And we're in this business of helping our customers with their computer networks since 2004. Tech Squad's success is due to our, basically what I call fanaticism with our support and making sure that we respond fast to our clients before there are any issues and downtime. And one of the reasons we're doing this cloud seminar series is that we want to be able to give our clients the best way to see the new business and the new things that are out there, the new technologies. So I want to point out that we do have a full conference today, so please make sure that you save any questions. We'll put them at the end. We have muted the lines, so it's something that you'll be able to hear me, but I can't hear you. There is an option to put chats and questions down the right side of your screen, so feel free to ask questions as you go. And if you have any chat questions, my assistant Natalie is actually monitoring, and she will be asking me as we go. I will not be able to see them during the webinar, so please make sure that if you have them, you put them in there. Natalie will get them to me at the end. So we do anticipate today's webinar to last about 60 minutes, give or take, depending on how many questions we have. First 45 minutes will be a presentation by myself, and then there'll be a Q&A session afterwards. And some of the information may not be on the slides, so feel free to take notes. And again, ask questions as you go, and then we'll go from there. And then make sure you hang around for the whole webinar. We're actually going to have a special offer at the end, and that'll be good for you. And then we're also recording this webinar for future viewing, which you can request, and it'll also be up on our website. So I apologize. Just taking a drink of my coffee here, and then we're going to go ahead and get started. So let me tell you a little bit about myself and Tech Squad IT, just so you're familiar. Some of you know me, some of you do not, so we'll take a look at that. So some quick facts about Tech Squad IT. We are incorporated in 2004. We are a Microsoft Small Business Computer Specialist, and actually we've just earned the CompTIA Trust Mark. That's brand new, so that's literally just happened yesterday, so that's coming. We currently support over 200 clients in the Wisconsin and Illinois markets. That's actually expanding as well with the invention of cloud computing, or the adaptation of cloud computing. We have gotten a lot more outside of the state clients, so that's coming. In fact, we just got one from Indiana, 2 from Indiana, and 1 from California. So things are definitely moving around. So we also manage over 1,500 PCs and servers on a day-to-day basis. And in 2008, we acquired IMC Information Management Consultants. That was a break-fix type of computer firm with multiple engineers. We did acquire them in 2008. And we are certified by Microsoft, VMware, Cisco, Untangle, Dell, Chartec, and many more. Some quick facts about myself. I'm the CEO of Tech Squad IT. We call Tech Squad IT here, but it could be called Tech Squad too. MSP Leads is a telemarketing firm where we do actually lead generation for Tech Squad and other Tech Squad type firms around the nation, and also VAR Contracts is a new project that we're working on that just launched a few months ago. I became the sole owner of Tech Squad IT in 2011, late 2011. I bought out, I had a silent partner, and I bought him out. I have over 15 years of IT management experience, and I did actually start out as an engineer, and have kind of moved my way up the ladder and are doing different things now. I also co-authored a book entitled Small Business Owner's Guide to Stress-Free Network Support. You can find that on iTunes, so feel free to look on iTunes or Amazon. It is on there. I also have been the Technology Marketing Toolkit.com 2-time Genius of the Month, I think most recently in February of this year. And I also had the cover of the VSR magazine, Vertical Systems Reseller magazine, in January of 2012. And actually, I didn't even have this on here. Just recently, I was named a SMB Nation SMB 150 member for the 150 top influential IT executives in the nation. So that was pretty cool. Also, my favorite sport is golf, and I'm a former professional sprint car driver. professional racer. So I grew up in a racing family. So some of you ask, how does a dork become a gearhead? And it's actually the other way around. I was a gearhead that became a dork. So okay, enough with that. We're going to get moving on to our actual content. On October 30th, 2005, one of the world's wealthiest billionaires wrote an urgent memo to his top engineers and his most trusted management team. It sounded the alarm that a very disruptive wave was about to wash over the IT industry, forever changing the way we get information and then use technology, and it threatened to destroy the $200 billion empire he spent his life building. Meanwhile, along the banks of the Columbia River, a mysterious company known only as Design LLC was secretly constructing two massive 34,000 square foot windowless warehouses on top of a fiber optic network codenamed Project 2. It was looming like an information age nuclear plant, said the International Herald Tribune. Who are we talking about? In case you haven't guessed it, the two companies are Microsoft is the first one and Google is the second one. And the disruptive wave we're talking about is, of course, cloud computing. So some things that we're going to cover today. We're going to cover what is cloud computing and why you may want to consider switching to the model. Frequently asked questions about security, where your data is stored, how it works, and how it would benefit you. What does it cost and where are the savings on IT? What happens if the internet goes down? Top reasons why companies are switching to the cloud, and how to determine if cloud computing is right for you. A couple things we won't talk about. The geeky details of exactly what technology is used. We won't cover servers. We won't cover bits and bytes, those kind of things. And we won't get into that dork stuff. We can talk about that personally if you really, really want to. But I'm not even that dorky anymore. It's kind of scary. So one question people ask me all the time, and in fact I'm doing a presentation tomorrow that people are asking me about a lot, is what exactly is cloud computing and why should I care about it? So think of it in this simple analogy. The web and cloud computing is to storing and processing data exactly what the electrical grid and the electric company is to plugging in your coffee maker. So if you look at the cloud computing here on the left, and on the right you see the electrical power plants and the electrical system in the coffee maker. It's basically, cloud computing is following the same technological revolution of electricity as a utility. Excuse me. So let me explain a little bit. In 1851, a man by the name of Henry Burden created a competitive advantage for his manufacturing company that allowed him to literally put his competition completely out of business. No one in the entire country could touch him in terms of his ability to manufacture and distribute his products at the rate he could, with the quality he did, and for the price he could. Burden was in the ironworks business. His companies would take iron and make horseshoes and that kind of thing. And he had this amazing invention. This invention was a water wheel. Shaped like a giant bicycle wheel, Burden's invention generated as much as 500 horsepower, and it was quickly harnessed to run his assembly line to get his products manufactured much more quickly. The smaller competitors who couldn't afford this kind of investment disappeared, and the ones who remained were forced to not only be in the manufacturing business, but also in the power generation business. And simply generating power became something he had to do. If you wanted to be in the manufacturing business, you had to actually invest in generating your own power. You had to maintain it, you had to operate it, you had to deal with it and repair it. And for nearly 50 years, Burden wheels ran constantly at his plant. Basically, the moral of the story, well, actually, real quick, by the early 1900s, if you were to visit that wheel, you'd see it idly standing by in the field with weeds growing all over it, and it was rusted away and basically sitting there abandoned. So now the moral of the story is the same technological revolution is happening today with cloud computing. So basically, by the end of the century, everybody was using utility and had gotten away from actually using their own water wheel and their power generation is really what it boils down to. So now, do you really need high-end PCs when users spend the majority of their time in a web browser, just like if you're using Google Mail or hosted Exchange Mail or those kind of things? Internet connectivity is exploding and is largely being driven by mobile Wi-Fi demand. Wireless access is pretty much all over the place. You can get it at McDonald's, you can get it at the airport. I travel a good amount. I'm gone a couple times a month. and I have a Verizon 4G card that goes with me everywhere, I can have high-speed internet pretty much wherever I'm at, and I can work at full functionality. I don't care if I'm sitting in the airport in Phoenix or if I'm sitting in a hotel room in D.C. I can do the same thing from anywhere just because I control my own world and my own internet. And devices are multiplying and getting a lot cheaper. I personally have an iPhone, an iPad, a BlackBerry Playbook, and my laptop, and my Xbox, and those kind of things also connect to the internet and are cloud service type accessible devices as well. And practically all new software applications are now delivered exclusively or largely as a software as a service model. You'll see that term SaaS, S-A-A-S, that means software as a service. Those kind of things, QuickBooks in the cloud is a good example. QuickBooks used to only be a application that was on a physical PC or on a server. Now you can actually use the QuickBooks hosted model. There's also FreshBooks that goes along with it. It's different companies, but it's the same basic model. All cloud hosted type products. And the big tech drivers, Google, Microsoft, and Apple, are investing billions to deliver cloud services and applications, which will drive quality, innovation, and speed. Absolutely. So, in fact, you're already using cloud computing. A lot of people don't realize this, but something they're actually, they're using it every single day. Google search, what is that other than a big free utility? When you need to find something online, all you do is go to Google, type stuff in, and all the computing power that they've put together has the ability to find information in seconds. You know, how many people can, they don't even have encyclopedias, they don't do those kind of things anymore, they just Google it. It's just become a term, just like Q-tip or Kleenex, that we use on a day-to-day basis. So that's a big cloud service. Who doesn't have Facebook? I think my grandmother and my dad are the only two people I actually know that don't have Facebook. Pretty much everybody else I know has Facebook, those kind of things. A lot of people are getting on Twitter. A lot of people are using LinkedIn in the business world. Pretty much everybody I meet now adds me on LinkedIn in some capacity, or Facebook, one of the two. And those are both, all three of those are cloud services. Also, residential services, Netflix, Hulu, iTunes, for listening to music, playing movies, those kind of things. Those are all cloud services. Everybody's heard of iCloud by now, pretty much. That is a cloud service. Gmail, Hotmail, any other free email services are all cloud services as well. This is one that actually gets people a lot, and they don't really realize it, is that their online banking is a giant cloud service. That's exactly what it is. SurveyMonkey, Zoomerang, any type of survey products, and every ATM and credit card machine you use as well are cloud services. Excuse me. Now I want to talk a little bit how cloud computing works in non-geeky terms. So basically, let me put it in simplest terms for you. When you need to start up your coffee maker, you simply plug it into the wall outlet. You don't go out back and start the generator and then plug in your coffee maker. So basically, in a cloud computing world, when you need to access your email or Microsoft Word or a client database, you simply access those resources via an internet connection, whether it's a phone, your iPad, your laptop, your BlackBerry Playbook, PC at a cyber cafe, or those kind of things. I actually saw a cyber cafe, and I saw a payphone this weekend, which they happened to be across the street from each other, which I found amusing. But all that processing and storage is maintained by the cloud server, so you can access it with the smartphone, you can access it with the tablet, with the laptop, or the desktop, and it can all be from the same experience. So that's basically the quick overview. So a lot of people say, what's with all the hype? What are the real benefits of what we're doing here? There are potentially many benefits. I think one of the big things that is important for people to see is there's potentials to save money, and there's also potentials to spend more money. It really depends on the environment that you're in. One thing I will say is it definitely lowers hardware costs. You don't have to replace or purchase outdated servers or backup devices. You don't have to purchase oversized servers thinking that you'll grow into it someday. That is something I see companies that are still doing that. They're like, well, I'm going to keep the server for 10 years. I'm going to buy this huge server. It's not even a feasible environment anymore, because I think the first thing is that the servers are not lasting. You know, we go into all our clients, we have a 4-year life cycle plan, a 48-month life cycle plan for all of our clients for servers, and we have a 36-month life cycle plan for all their workstations. That is a typical environment if you have your own server hardware that you either own or you work with us on a HaaS model, hardware as a service model. Most people don't even end up using the full capabilities of those big servers because they just they're putting one operating system and they're not even hitting maybe half of it most of the time. And one of the big things on the software side from a cost-saving potential is you don't have to buy the software licenses anymore. You know, how many times have you bought, on your server side, bought Windows Server 2003, let's say small business server, which a lot of you business owners know about. You buy a Server 2003 with 20 users, and then you have to buy 20 users of Office, and you have to buy all this other stuff. And by the time you're done for the next server, you can't recycle that. It's not something you can move it along. So you have to buy it all again in 3 to 5 years. So one of the nice things about cloud computing is you pay for the licenses as you need them. Everything moves to a monthly payment model, thus the comparison to utility. You can also use it without having to own it. More specifically, you don't own the responsibility of having to install, update, and maintain all the hardware. All the hardware is what really is kind of the headache to maintain. In the cloud environment, it's probably the best part to maintain because it's constantly evolving and constantly changing, and you don't even realize it. Think of it as similar to living in a condo where someone else takes care of the building maintenance, repairs the roof, and mowing the lawn. You only have the key to your section of the condo, and you can use all the facilities, but you don't have to worry about owning it or maintaining it or anything else. That's very attractive for companies who are new or expanding, but they don't want the heavy outlay of cash. This is especially good for companies that are brand new, startups that are looking for some type of a model. They can either go with the Haas environment or a full cloud environment plus the Haas environment, which really, really is beneficial. And it also frees the end users up to access the applications from any device. You can use it on your PDA, your home PC, your laptop, friend's PC, that cyber cafe again. You're no longer tied to coming to the office every day to look up a client's order information. You can also access your desktop anywhere, anytime. You can do anything from anywhere, basically. And this is, to me, this is probably my favorite part. It's got built-in disaster recovery and business continuity. When we sit down with people in an interview environment for being a client, one of the big things that we state to them is there's a huge difference between recovery and continuity. You know, a lot of people have tape backups and hard drive backups and those kind of things, and a lot of times they get their data back. But what's the time between having your failure point to the time you actually go live again? It's anywhere from, on average, I'm going to tell you, it's 10 days on average. The customer that, so, you know, they get their data back a lot of times. I'd say 50% of the time they get their data back, but they have a huge downtime gap where they can't function. So that's recovery, and then continuity is actually being able to continue work while you have your issue. That's a big factor, and with the cloud built in, the disaster recovery is fully built in, and the business continuity is fully built in. There's a lot of snapshot abilities and a lot of things to actually make it so you can stay up and running in the event of a problem. Your power goes out at the office, who cares? You turn it back on, you go to a cyber cafe, you go to McDonald's, you log right back into where you were. So one big factor is you only pay for what you need and you use. That's the utility pricing again. And that kind of is the monthly price and as you go. And then there's also the ability to scale. If you're going fast and need to keep adding things to your network, your server may have to be replaced sooner than you thought or you planned for. And in the cloud computing world, it allows you to scale without worrying about upgrading your server. So that's a big factor. Might be clearer if I show you some examples. So let me show you the example of a typical business that we've actually, this is a real one that we've migrated. We've changed the names for confidentiality. And why you might be able to greatly benefit from cloud computing. So here's our sample scenario. It's a CPA firm, an accounting firm. This firm services small and medium-sized businesses. They have 75 employees in 2 locations. They had an old, outdated network that desperately needed to be upgraded. This network was actually 6 years old. They need a way to handle employees, to allow employees to work from their home during peak times. The 2 offices need a way to share files. They have a seasonal part-time workforce that needs only support for a few months out of the year. CPA firm, tax season, basically. And they're in the middle of this right now. We did this in late 2011. I'd say like October, I think it was. Their costs for new hardware and backup were just over $32,000. And their costs for software, which their Microsoft Office, their Microsoft licenses, their Microsoft Exchange licenses, their antivirus, their spam filtering, that was all just over $104,000 to buy it all. So a good amount of money that they were going to have to outlay. That's not even labor to install anything yet. So that's a pretty typical environment for 75 employees, 2 locations. Over 50% of the PCs were needing to be replaced. Very typical environment. That's, again, very typical. So here's basically what we did after cloud computing. We have an entirely new infrastructure without requiring a single purchase of new hardware, servers, or workstations. We were able to use everything they had. Both offices can share data back and forth. They're allowed to add and remove users quickly without having to purchase full-blown software licenses and workstations. Their monthly cost for cloud computing is $10,200 versus $11,600 if they purchased it. So over a 3-year period, they saved over $17,000, almost 18 grand in year 1 with a total savings of $53,000 over 3 years, and it gave them an instant disaster recovery plan. So let's look at a little bit of this, this cost breakdown a little bit closer. So you can see your categories on the left. You can see your pricing in-house in the middle, and their pricing for the cloud outside. So when you put the two side by side, it really factors up. And you know, some people ask about the seasonal nature of the business when their workforce goes from 75 people down to 50. With the in-house model, their cost doesn't change. But with the cloud model, they can actually reduce their workforce in the cloud environment because it is a utility. They can actually say, okay, Tech Squad, we want to, you know, coming up in June, we're going to be out of our busy season. We're going to go from 50 users down to, or 75 users down to 50 for 4 months or whatever. I think they're actually coming to that now. So we'll just reduce the price for them. Basically, their user support and all their cloud support is based on a monthly service model, not on the hardware they bought. So the savings is actually a lot greater than it originally was. So one thing that some of you on this call may be asking yourselves is you may be saying, I don't spend anywhere near this on IT right now, so then what? That's a really legitimate question, and it's funny because we literally had a presentation in our office yesterday with a construction firm, and they are 20 users, and he estimated that their support, and we did our whole presentation with them, and they estimated their support was roughly $100,000 a year, upwards of 3 years ago, and they're spending over $15,000 a year on backup right now. That's something that we were able to talk with them and say, you know, okay, that's kind of crazy. Now, this didn't happen to be a cloud environment for them, but very comparably, they were spending that much money. It's just a lot of times they didn't realize it. And this business owner definitely knew. And one question that a lot of people say is, hey, this is back to that, I don't spend anywhere near this. Well, it's important to realize that IT runs so much of your business now. When we go in and do an assessment, a cloud assessment or a business assessment, we're asking you, you know, if we were to unplug your server and walk out the door with it, how much damage would that do to your company? 98 out of 100 people say, well, it would be disastrous. We would be out of business. So what's important in that world is when you're going to see something that's going to be that critical, I don't think of anything else that's that critical to your business other than this kind of environment where you have IT controlling it. You need to put together an IT budget, and you need to put those things together. So when that comes around to is if you're spending zero on IT right now, cloud computing and even basic managed support will not save you any money, but it's definitely going to help you budget better. It's going to make your business more stable, and it's going to make you have a true, real disaster recovery plan in the event of a realistic disaster. So I could talk about that all day, but you know, if you have things that you want to talk about on that, or if you want to debate that point with me, which I do have people do on occasion, they tell me that I'm wrong, which is rare. I'm never wrong. So that's something that is, you know, feel free to do that. So I was kidding about the never wrong part, but okay, let's move on. So probably the biggest question about the cloud computing scenario that we hear about is what about security? And you know, that's probably a webinar all by itself. So I'm just going to touch on it very lightly from a 10,000-foot view a little bit. There are many aspects to security, and there's 3 that I'm actually going to talk about right now. There's the physical aspect, there's the virus hacker aspect, and then there's the internal aspect. The physical security, let's talk about that. So in the cloud environment, you have a big data center that everything sits in. In fact, we have 3 data centers that are redundant. And they see each other, and they have about an 8 millisecond delay between the 3 of them right now. So if there's an outage at one of them, then you see it replicated and you move around. It's a redundancy thing. Data centers usually have retinal scanners or palm scanners along with card swipe. They have multi-token authentication to get in. Like our data center that we go to has a passcode plus a RFID scanner chip plus a palm scanner. You have to use all three to get in, and only 2 people in my entire environment are allowed to get into that data center. We haven't been there since we set it up, but other than that. Versus, there's all that security and all that stuff versus a server room in your office. Now some people will say, well, nobody comes to my office and the server room is more secure. And if I have seen it one time, I've seen it 30 times to where we go in and do an assessment for a customer. That same customer that was here yesterday, they said, all we know about this room is that we can't kick anything. That's literally what the girl said to me. We can't kick anything because if we kick anything, it'll shut everything off. That to me is not very secure. Plus it was in an unlocked room, unprotected. Literally somebody could have walked in. In fact, we walked in and we walked all the way almost back to there looking for people and nobody really knew. So that's a pretty good example. So let's address the security risk imposed by viruses or malicious acts by hackers. Is anything 100% secure? Absolutely not. But I will say what a data center does is it leverages high-grade enterprise-level firewalls and other devices that make it very, very secure. Even more so than you can do on site. I mean, you can do anything if you want as long as you have enough money, but how many environments really have enterprise-level security at their office when they have 10 employees and they spend $1,000 a month on IT? It's very, very difficult to plan for and to do for. And I think just about everyone on this call has seen the little blue Linksys firewall router that sits at a customer, and they're like, oh, there's our firewall. And it's not a firewall at all. It's an actual router that, and again, we could get into this all day. This could get a little bit geeky, so I'm just going to skip over that. But bottom line is, when you have an enterprise-grade environment, you can be way more secure to virus, hacker threats, and any type of environment like that versus having the little blue box or even a decent firewall on the client side. And the third aspect of security concern is very crucial. That question is, if I have my data in the cloud, how do I control who has access to it? How do I know someone isn't giving out my client information or my product specifications or all of my intellectual property, those kind of things? And I think first thing we can say on that is security risks are mitigated by implementing controls, processes, policies, those kind of things, which shows that you're doing what you say you're going to do. Making sure you have a strong password policy, making sure that you have a screensaver timeout policy. Those things are plans that we work with. We work with our existing clients and say, you need to put these things in. If you're not going to put them in, then we're going to ask you to sign off on not putting them in, but at least acknowledge that we advised you, those kind of things. So the way to reduce that risk is to establish those controls. And the problem with many cloud solutions is they'll not necessarily implement the controls that you feel are necessary or that you even know about. How many of you know that you should be putting those kind of policies in? Unless you're in the medical environment or if you're in the financial services environment, you're not even comfortable putting those kind of things in. It rarely is a beneficial thing. And then really the way to get really better control is to work with a smaller cloud provider who they can actually do audits and provide reports as needed, or they can go to a specialized data center, those kind of things. That does sometimes drive the costs up, but it's a real benefit. If you were to go with iCloud for some storage, or Microsoft just announced their new thing called SkyDrive, that's out. Amazon has their cloud storage. Who are you going to call at those environments? I mean, you're just kind of your number in a big, huge pool. So who are you going to call in that environment? And what I will say is if you see the security stuff and after talking to anybody, whether it's your cloud provider, whether it's us or those kind of things, it's really important to make sure that your requirements or your needs are met. And if that's not met, then I think the cloud is possibly not a good scenario for you. So moving on to our next point, internet goes down, now what? And a lot of people, this is, other than security or my data, this is the next question that we really get a lot. If the internet goes down, you are down. I'm not going to debate that you're not down. It's pretty rare that you deal with that, but one benefit of the cloud in this environment, there are technologies that allow you to work offline. We could do that if you wanted to, just it costs a little bit more monthly. But you can also have a redundant internet connection, a separate cable modem or a DSL modem or something like that, separate from your existing environment. If you have cable, maybe putting in DSL. If you have DSL, putting in cable. Those kind of things are good for redundancy. But one real good thing about the cloud computing is you could actually go home or go to a cyber cafe or go to McDonald's and do the things. You can go home and work and do the things that you have to do from anywhere. That's really, really benefit. And realistically, some of us are using some type of cloud applications today anyway. And how many times have you actually gone on Facebook when it's down? I can't even think of Facebook being down at all. I can't think of Gmail being down at all. There's so many redundant factors involved now with the cloud side. Yes, it is down on your side possibly, but it's not like you can't get somewhere to get, if you got to get on, you can do it. So most of the time you're not, it's such a reliable environment now, internet, compared to even 5 years ago. It just changes the entire world. So hopefully that answers that question. So next question we always get is Microsoft Office 365, Google Apps, are these good cloud solutions? I think both of them are not bad. They do fit their environment if necessary, and this a little bit of this is opinion because I'm IT guy kind of, so opinion comes into play a good amount here, and that's what it is. We are a Microsoft shop. We do a lot of Microsoft stuff, but I'm not a huge fan of Office 365 because you have to pick up your email environment, you have to pick up your cloud environment or your Office environment for Microsoft Word, Excel, PowerPoint, those kind of things, and you have to put it in the cloud, and you run it out of a web browser. It is a less featured version. Both Google Apps and Microsoft Office 365 are less featured versions of the full product, and so you will save some money there, but not without a price. It comes at, you get no support, you have nobody to call. If it's down, it's down. Office 365 had a good amount of outages. I've talked to more customers that have had Google Apps problems than anybody. They migrate their entire mail environment, and then if it doesn't work, what do? You're stuck basically just waiting for it to come up. You have nobody to call. You can call a huge call center, but they basically tell you that they're not familiar with the outage. I've seen it. We ran into it with a large nonprofit here in Milwaukee. So I think if they do fit the right environment. If you're a 1 or 2 user place, cloud computing is possibly going to be too expensive for you, but and Office 365 or Google Apps may be a good fit, but make sure you do your due diligence first. Make sure you do your research and that you really are comfortable with it before you make that switch. Some other questions we get are, what about compliance? What's funny is I think the cloud computing is actually way more compliant than most physical solutions because you can control every variable. There are a number of laws and regulations such as Gramm-Leach, Bliley, Sarbanes-Oxley, HIPAA. They require companies to protect their data and certify they have knowledge. Medical is a good environment for that, a good example. And many cloud providers won't tell you specifically where your data is stored. So I think what's really important in that scenario is examine what you're looking at. Examine the cloud provider you're looking with. If that happens to be us, I can tell you our cloud environment is fully SAS 70. I can tell you that we have full Sarbanes-Oxley and HIPAA compliance. I can give you a certificate on that. That is really, really valuable for you as an end user to make sure you can have that. I don't think you can get a certificate from Amazon or Google. I'm not sure, honestly. I should probably check that, but I pretty much doubt that they can guarantee that because it's such a shared storage environment. And the bottom line is if you don't have those things and something happens, whose tail is on the line when that happens? It's not good. And if your cloud provider can't provide you with that information, then the cloud might not be for you. Okay, next one. Another question we received is, can I keep some applications on the server at my office while moving others to the cloud? Absolutely, you can do that. There's 3 main types of cloud computing, and you see that on the little image on the bottom right here. There's private cloud, there's hybrid cloud, and there's public cloud. And we're going to talk about a couple things here. Basically, we'll talk about pure cloud. What pure cloud is all of your environment is in the cloud. And you have your internet connection, your PC where you're at, your internet connection, and then you have all of your data in the cloud. That is a pure cloud environment. That is typically how cloud computing in the business, if you're going to go to a full cloud computing environment, that is typically how it would work. There is another option, which is hybrid cloud. That is more based on if you can give better compliance, those kind of things. A hybrid cloud enables you to put certain pieces of the existing IT infrastructure, say storage and email, those things, you can put that in the cloud. Email is a good example of that if you wanted to do that. And then the remainder of the IT infrastructure stays on-premise. On-premise would be in your environment. if you scan a lot of documents, then it might be easier to store them on a local server and then sync them to the cloud at night. That might be a good option. And that means you have servers locally and then also on site. So that is an option as well. Then there's also point solutions, which point solutions are a good example of that, and many people are familiar with this, is a hosted spam solution or hosted exchange. A hosted spam solution, many people have their email filtered. I'd say 95% of our clients that we have right now have their email filtered before it hits their servers. Even if they have an on-premise server, that is a cloud service and that is a point solution. We have many clients that are on hosted exchange with us. That is a point solution as well. Those are good examples of point solutions. And then one other option that is often asked about is what's the difference between public cloud and private cloud? It's really, this is actually very simple. Public cloud is something where the infrastructure is all the same. Say your bank, I bank with PNC personally and for the business here. Our bank has a website, pnc.com. We go to, you put your username and password in, and you access your data. For me to go to that site and access it for my personal information versus my business information, all that changes is our login. That is a public cloud environment. Facebook is also a public cloud environment. Gmail, LinkedIn, those are all public cloud environments. Versus a private cloud environment, very similar like our cloud environment, or if you had a custom environment with Rackspace or a bigger cloud provider, all that is it's a custom built area for you. There's a lock. You have the key. You're the only one with the key. That is a private environment. That is a private cloud world. You're the only people that can get to it. So pretty simple. It really breaks it down pretty easily for you. Okay, so moving on to that, how do I choose the right cloud integrator? So things that you'll say on that, there's 5 main keys that I go through on this, 5 main key points. Have them verify their company certifications and their achievements, and make sure that they have a track record of well-executed projects. Make sure that you can see what they do, have them show you a project plan. Anybody can walk in our office right now and say, show me a project plan for a past project. Okay, it's easy to do. We'll just pull it out, and you can see everything that was done with it. And do they offer more than just cloud solutions? That is a really big deal because maybe they're very specific, but you want to make sure that they're very experienced in IT overall, not just cloud stuff. I mean, it's good that they know their craft, and some people say, I want to make sure that they're working in their core competency. That's fine, and that's good, but I think it's important to make sure that they're overall a good IT company as well. And also ask to see some client testimonials. Make sure that they have solid things from the client side that you can see and that's available for you to actually talk to some clients and those kind of things. And then in a really good environment, make sure that you can ask for a cloud readiness assessment. Make sure that you can work with them to see that you are ready for the cloud. Those are really important to see. Just make sure you do your due diligence to pick the right provider is really what it boils down to. And if you have any questions, feel free to give me a call or give my team a call. My sales team is available pretty much at any time to talk to anybody. We had a school call yesterday. All they did was ask questions. We had an ad in a local paper, a local school paper, and they submitted a cloud readiness assessment request. And all they did was ask a bunch of questions. That's okay. You don't have to buy it. Not everybody has to buy everything from us. I mean, they can. I like that. But the bottom line is that's all that has to happen if that's all you need. So let me share with you a little pearl of wisdom as well. I'm not sure if anyone's read the book Good to Great by Jim Collins. It's a great book. I really highly recommend it. And some things that Jim says about evaluating a new technology is step 1, get the brutal facts. Make sure it's as cut and dry as you need it. And number 2, great companies can use technology shifts to their advantage. And 3, take a crawl, walk, run approach to technology. I think that's really solid advice. Excuse me, I got to take a sip here real quick. Talk for an hour, your voice gets gone. So, okay, so what's next? Understandably, I think many of you are saying, okay, this all sounds great, but you said it may not be right for everybody, so how do I know if it's going to benefit my company? Or I don't want to be an early adopter. And honestly, cloud computing is not that early adopted anymore. It's been around for at least a year now, to where we've had people working. And actually, us in the IT world, I've had my spam stuff in the cloud, my Exchange in the cloud for 3 years. It's just we didn't call it cloud computing, and it wasn't a big buzzword. So I think the best thing we can do is how to determine if it's right for you is we offer a free cloud computer assessment, a cloud networking assessment, and we call it a cloud readiness assessment is actually what we truly call it. It's a $600 value, $595 is what we actually normally charge for it. There's a 26-point assessment of your computer network. We do an internet speed review. This is really, really critical. We have a customer that went live and they said no to upgrading their internet, and they've been seeing some issues. We actually said to them, okay, we know you're going to go live. We want you to double your internet speed. They said no, we don't want to do it. Okay, you're probably going to see problems. No, we'll deal with it. It's supposed to be faster, blah, blah, blah. Now they're actually upgrading their internet. They're doubling their internet speed from a 3 meg connection to a 6 meg connection with 20 users. They're doing that now, 3 months after they've gone live. And so they could have done it in the beginning and really helped it. And we actually were able to get their internet doubled. They re-signed a new contract and doubled their internet speed for no additional cost. So that's a big benefit. They were using a small company here called TDS Metrocom here in Milwaukee, and it doubled their internet speed for the same exact price. Make sure you have a solid validation of your backups in your disaster recovery plan. We also complete a cost analysis of your current IT spend. We saw that earlier in the discussion of making sure you really understand what you're spending on IT. That is very, very important. For you to really get a good picture, you need to know what you're spending. We also do security testing and review, and we review your network documentation, and we also recommend the best solution for you. I really encourage you to take advantage of this before making any decisions. We're only offering 5 of these with today's webinar, and again, this is a full webinar right now. So on average, we usually see 7 to 10 of these come through. So if you're looking to do this, send it in right now. Basically, how do you sign up? You can sign up 3 different ways. Go to our website, www.mkeCloud.com/I'mReady. There's a little video there, kind of talks a little bit what I talked about today. But you go to that site. You can click on the Cloud Readiness Assessment form. I really recommend that's the best thing. You can also send an email to sales@techsquadit.com, or you can call the office here at 262-798-0909. We are only taking 5 of these, so please make sure that you hurry. In fact, I believe Natalie just said that somebody's on the phone right now, so that's solid. So I'm not sure who it is, but thanks for calling. Okay. So let's move on. I do want to take some Q&A. I know we have a few questions pending. If anybody has any, I can see them popping up here, so let me take a look at them. And Natalie's got a couple things that she's bringing up. Okay, so questions. All right, first question here. Is the cloud not right for someone's business? I would say not every situation is perfect for the cloud. I would say yes, the cloud is not right for someone's business, or no, the cloud wouldn't be perfect for everybody. You may have a very specific line of business software can't be hosted in the cloud. You may need a commercial grade broadband connection. It makes it more costly. It may be too pricey for you to actually go to that environment. You may have specific security requirements that say no. Most of them we can actually abide by, but I think basically what that means is every situation is different. And there's not one blanket thing that will cover everybody, and it's really, really important that you get that cloud readiness assessment environment. I don't care if you're dealing with us or if you're dealing with another cloud provider. It's really important to make sure that you have a readiness assessment to know where you're at, know where you're at a starting point. So, okay, next question. Do I need to purchase new hardware to move to the cloud? No, you don't have to do that. Sometimes, it depends on what you have. I guess if you have Apples, or I don't say Apple, but like an Apple IIe, or maybe a Commodore 64 or something like that. I'm kidding. But for the most part, the cloud environment, as long as you have Windows XP and newer, you should be fine, even if the computer is not that fast, because you deal with, once you get the application open, you actually are running in the cloud environment and you're using the processing power of the cloud environment. One way we can absolutely test that is we can just connect to the cloud environment on one of your existing PCs. We do have a demo area. It's very easy to do. But what that really allows you to do is it allows you to keep that old hardware that you have. You don't have to go through that initial cost. And we have a lot of systems that we just keep here that we can use to replace some of the existing systems. Our existing cloud clients or our cloud clients get hardware that's included with it for their workstation side, if they do have machines that just come up and they need replacing. So we definitely will do that for you. It does allow you to also buy cheaper workstations, laptops. We can, again, fit that into the monthly pricing, but you don't have to go out and buy any new hardware. You could literally, if you had 20 workstations in your office right now, unless they're smoking and burning up, for the most part, you can use everything you have. That's not been an issue at all to this point. All right, we have one more question right now. For a very small office with 10 PCs and one server, does the cloud make sense for us? I'd say that's a pretty generalized question. It's hard to just say yes or no to that. It is a high possibility. Our smallest cloud user has 3 people, so it makes sense for them. But all they do is go on the internet, use email, and they have, I think, QuickBooks, and then they have one other application that is a database-driven application. So again, they have 3 users and they use our cloud environment. In their environment, did it save them money? Not really. It actually probably cost them a little bit more. But the one thing that, on a monthly basis, it costs them a little bit more. But one thing they don't have to do, they don't ever have to buy a server again. And they'll, once their PCs die, that's all they'll have to do. Other than that, they have no difference. They'll not have to buy anything new. So over a 3-year period, they'll definitely save money. Over a 5-year period, they'll save a ton of money. It's just a matter of how you look at it, if you look at it in the month-to-month. So in your environment, you have 10 users, 1 server. Really depends on the type of app you have and the type of business environment that you have. Those things are really, really important and are critical. I would say with that question, definitely sign up for the cloud assessment, and we can kind of determine it from there and really decide where we're going. Okay, let's see here. I don't think I have any other questions, and I'm not sure even what time it is. It is 10:46 Central Time, so we're about 14 minutes to go. A little bit early, but I'd rather be early than late. So I think I should be set. If we have any other questions, we can go ahead and post them through. Again, I'm going to pop back to the sign-up page. You can sign up 3 ways. www.mkecloud.com. MKE means Milwaukee. It's the airport code for Milwaukee, for everybody that's always asking me what that means. That's what that is. And go there, www.mkecloud.com/I'm ready. And Natalie's holding her hand up. We do have 4 current ones right now, so we have 1 spot available. So if you're looking, please sign up. And I think we're set to go. So I'm going to go ahead and end the call for today. Again, this will be recorded, or it has been recorded, and will be up on our website for future viewing very shortly. We do put them on Vimeo. It takes 1 to 3 days to put them up, and then we'll put a link on the website. So again, thanks everyone for attending, and have a great day.